At my law school graduation, I stood alone in my cap and gown while my parents snapped photos of my younger sister wearing it instead. They told me, "Book smarts don't win cases, Eliza." That moment carved a crack so deep it never healed, because no matter what I achieved, I was invisible in my own family. My name is Eliza Monroe, and years later, when I built my law firm from scratch, they came back, not with pride, but with contracts demanding a share of everything I had fought for. The second I step over the threshold, I know something's off. My mother's smile is stretched too wide. My father's handshake lasts a beat too long, and Ivy watches me like she's guarding a punchline. The house smells like sage and butter, but the warmth stops at the doorway. The dining room is dressed to impress. Golden turkey, the rare china that only comes out when someone needs convincing. My grandmother's crystal polished within an inch of its life. Then I see it, a manila folder tucked beside my father's plate, half hidden under his napkin. Not a place setting. A setup. We make small talk that isn't small. My mother asks about the practice, with a voice pitched a note too high. My father carves, measuring every slice as if precision could pass for sincerity. Ivy keeps glancing at the folder, then at me, the way she used to when she'd rig a prank and wait for the thud. Halfway through the meal, my father clears his throat. "Family needs to stick together," he says, and the room goes very still. "We've been talking about the future of your firm. Ivy will step in as COO, handle operations so you can focus on the law." A beat. Ivy straightens, all dimples and triumph. "I brought a business plan," she says, sliding a glossy printout from her tote. "I'll streamline your admin, redo the branding, grow corporate accounts. For that, I'm asking 30% of profits. It's fair." My fork sets down with a quiet click. Butter softens on the Parker House roll in my palm, and somewhere far away, a faucet drips. My mother nods so hard her pearls tremble. My father nudges the manila folder toward me, casual as a gun in a drawer. "Our attorney drafted the agreement," he adds. "All that's missing is your signature." The laughter from the living room TV, some canned holiday sitcom, bleeds into the silence that follows. It hits me then, clean and cold. This isn't dinner. It's an ambush. They didn't come to celebrate what I built. They came to claim it. I set my wine glass down and slide the black leather portfolio onto the table. The clasp snaps open with a clean, merciless click, like a gavel I control. I draw out a contract and place it beside the manila folder they nudged at me. "This was executed a month ago with Atlantic Legal Partners," I say, and tap the paragraph I've already highlighted. Clause 5.2. No family members may hold management roles without unanimous board consent. My father's jaw tightens. "You can't make a decision this big without asking the family." "Actually, I can," I answer, steady as a judge reading a ruling. Ivy's smile collapses. My mother's fork hovers midair, a pearl of gravy trembling at the edge. The room recalibrates around the paper between us. In an instant, the ambush stalls. Leverage crosses the table and lands in my hands. "You signed that just to cut me out." Ivy fires back, voice sharp enough to score the china. I open a second, thicker packet and lay it flat. "Here's why I won't hire you." I read down the columns. 19 court dates canceled by mistake. 27 misfiled documents. 14 unauthorized discounts to your friends. Then I place one last sheet on top. "And this is the $55,000 in free legal work I've done for this family. Your land dispute, Mom's taxes, Ivy's credit card mess." My mother presses a hand to her chest. I keep going. "While I covered all your legal messes, I ate ramen and slept on my office couch." "I never thought you'd put business before family," she whispers. "I'm putting boundaries before exploitation." I say. Silence hardens. The turkey cools. The crystal glitters, and the dining room becomes a courtroom, me at counsel's table, them on the stand, while the case finally turns. The house is quiet when I step out onto the porch. the air sharp against my skin. The dining room behind me feels like a battlefield left smoking, but the silence outside brings no comfort. Instead, memories flood in, uninvited and unrelenting. I'm 13 again, sitting at the kitchen table with a store-bought card propped against my cereal bowl. That was my entire birthday. 2 weeks later, Ivy turned 16 and got a used Honda with a red bow on the hood. My parents clapped as she circled the driveway, and I stood there with the card still tucked in my backpack. Then, I'm back at my law school graduation, cap and gown pressing heavy on my shoulders. I waited alone as classmates hugged their parents, bouquets flashing in every photograph. My family slipped in late, barely long enough for my father to hand Ivy my cap so he could snap photos of her wearing it. They left before I could even shake my professor's hand, racing off to Ivy's party, and the long nights come back. 2. Scrubbing floors on a closing shift at Starbucks, scarfing down ramen in a dorm room that smelled of bleach, then wiring money to Ivy because she had a housing crisis. I covered her shortfalls while interest swelled on my own student loans. I was invisible, except when they needed me. The realization settles cold and certain. I've never been the daughter they celebrated. I've always been the one who carried the weight. The card child, the stand-in, the safety net. Tonight only confirms it. For the first time, though, I make myself a promise. I won't let them steal what I bled for. Not this time. Never again. Days later, in my office downtown, I'm sifting through contracts when an email subject line freezes me. Family law firm? A longtime client wants clarification. My stomach knots as I open the attachment. A screenshot of my mother's Facebook post. She's smiling with her arms slung around me at my firm's opening. Captioned, "So proud of our family law firm. It's your family business." By noon, 2 more colleagues have forwarded the same post. At lunch, a friend from the bar association leans over. "Didn't know you went into business with your parents." The words taste like acid. It's happening again. They're rewriting my story, erasing me from my own achievement. Then the phone rings. My paralegal mouths silently. It's Mr. Carter. He's one of our biggest partners. I take the call, and his first words gut me. "Your father introduced himself yesterday as your co-owner. Should I be speaking with him instead?" The blood drains from my face. This isn't just family posturing anymore. It's sabotage. I stare at the framed license on my wall, the embossed seal I once touched with pride, and feel stripped of it all. But anger steadies me. I open a new email draft and begin to type. Each word is a blade. No family members will ever hold management roles. All services for family will be billed at standard rates. No one may present themselves as partners in my firm. My hand shakes, but I press send. Seconds later, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a text from Mr. Carter. "Good. I'm glad you clarified. That's why we trust you." My breath catches, sharp and clean. For the first time in weeks, I feel the ground tilt back under my feet. Boundaries, written in ink, are holding. And this time, they hold for me. Cornerstone Cafe hums with low chatter and the hiss of the espresso machine when I arrive 20 minutes early. I choose a corner seat that faces the door, lay my black leather portfolio neatly on the table, and wrap both hands around the mug of black coffee the barista brings me. The warmth steadies me. I rehearse nothing. The documents in my bag will speak louder than any speech. The bell above the door jingles. My family enters in coordinated tones of beige and cream, like they dressed for a family portrait rather than a confrontation. My father in a pressed polo, my mother with pearls gleaming at her throat, Ivy with a sleek iPad tucked under one arm, and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. They settle across from me, their unity rehearsed. "Blood is thicker than water, Eliza," my father begins, voice heavy with authority. "Family stands together, especially in business." Ivy leans forward, flipping open her tablet. "I've drafted a full marketing strategy, social media, corporate outreach, everything. It'll require me to come on as a consultant, 3 days a week, at least." She pushes the screen toward me, as though it were a winning hand in poker. I take a slow sip of coffee, then reach for the portfolio. The clasp snaps open. I slide 3 documents across the table. Printed screenshots of my mother's Facebook posts claiming a family law firm, a copy of an email where my father introduced himself as my co-owner to a client, and the itemized spreadsheet showing Ivy's unpaid debt, $18,700. The air thickens. My mother's lips part, but no words come. My father's jaw twitches, the mask of control slipping. Ivy's cheeks flame as she stares at the numbers in black ink. "This isn't just family drama," I say, voice calm, measured, final. "This is my career, and it will not be your piggy bank." For a beat, no one speaks. Ivy drops her eyes to the table, then snaps her head up, words spilling out hot and bitter. "It's not fair. You get everything, the respect, the clients, the success. What about me? I'm stuck while you play hero." My father cuts in, leaning forward, hands pressed flat. "We were only trying to help you secure your future," he insists, as though rewriting history could erase the evidence between us. And then it slips, sharp, unguarded, irreversible. "We never thought you'd succeed on your own," he says. The words land like a blade to the gut. My chest tightens, but clarity floods in too. The truth has always been there, only now it's spoken aloud. I rise slowly, tucking the documents back into the portfolio. "I built this firm while you dismissed me," I tell them, meeting each gaze without flinching. "I'm not invisible anymore." The clasp snaps shut with a decisive click. I place enough cash on the table to cover my coffee and slide the portfolio under my arm. Without another glance, without the old reflex to measure their faces, I walk out into the daylight. For the first time, I don't look back. Sunlight hits me as the cafe door swings shut. The noise of Manhattan folding around me, horns, footsteps, a bus braking somewhere down the block. A minute ago, the air inside felt like a sealed jar. Out here, oxygen rushes in so fast my knees nearly buckle. I steady myself on the cool metal railing and breathe. The weight I've carried for years, the explaining, the appeasing, the measuring my worth against their faces, slips an inch, then another. I can feel my shoulders drop, like a knot finally loosening. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. I say it under my breath, not to convince them, not even to convince myself, but because the words fit my mouth like something I should have learned long ago. A flash of memory breaks across my vision. The office couch, a thin blanket that smelled faintly of toner. My shoes on the floor because I couldn't afford a taxi home after working through the night. Another, a dented saucepan of ramen on a single-burner hot plate, the steam fogging up my glasses while I rehearsed arguments to an empty room. And another, the email confirming a client's win at 2:13 a.m. Me whispering yes into the dark with no one there to hear it. I see all of it stacked behind me, like sandbags I built with my own hands, and I see the door I just walked through, finally shut on the old bargain where I did the work and they took the credit. The light changes, bodies surge forward at the crosswalk. I move with them, not rushing, just choosing. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I don't look. For years I checked every ping as if approval might finally arrive disguised as a text. Not today. Today the approval I needed is already here, quiet and complete. I stood my ground. I didn't explain, soften, apologize. I laid out facts, set terms, and left. Halfway down the block, I stop. Not from doubt, but clarity. It lands clean and final. I don't need them to bless what I built. I don't need a photo on their mantle or a sentence that starts with we. Freedom isn't their permission, it's my recognition. The chain was never their hand on my shoulder. It was my own hand on the door, waiting. Traffic surges again. A gust lifts my hair, and I laugh, small, surprised. Real. The city continues exactly as it did before I said no, which feels like the point. My life doesn't hinge on their yes. It moves because I move it. I start walking toward the office, the portfolio tucked firm against my side. There's work to do, clients to call back, a policy memo to finalize, a team to thank for holding the line while I redrew it. The day is still bright, and for once, the future in front of me doesn't ask who's watching. It only asks what I'll build next. The view from my office stretches over the Manhattan skyline, glass towers catching the afternoon sun. A year ago, Monroe Legal was 3 exhausted lawyers crowded into a sublet suite. Now 12 names line the door, 12 voices filling our weekly meetings, 12 people who believe in what we're building together. The walls tell the story. My original license, once hung alone, now surrounded by community service awards, certificates from pro bono cases, and framed notes of gratitude from clients who couldn't afford representation anywhere else. Beside them hangs the newest edition, a certificate recognizing our mentorship program, one that pairs young law students from underprivileged backgrounds with seasoned attorneys. My calendar is full, not with survival, but with purpose. The scholarship fund I started last spring has already covered tuition for 2 first-generation law students. Next year, we'll add 3 more. I think of the nights I boiled ramen over a hot plate and smile. Those sacrifices have become bridges for someone else. A ping interrupts. My inbox shows a new message from Ivy. The subject line is short. Update. She's landed a steady position at a corporate office. Nothing flashy, but solid. There are no exclamation points, no subtle digs, just a professional sign-off, as if she finally stopped measuring herself against me. Another email, this one from Mom. A photo of her in jeans and gardening gloves, dirt under her nails, standing in front of a community plot. The caption reads, "Our volunteer project is thriving." For the first time, she doesn't attach my name to hers, doesn't claim credit, just her own work, her own pride. My father remains silent. No calls, no emails. The absence doesn't sting the way it once did. Some wounds aren't mine to heal. That evening, I step onto a stage at the Women's Bar Association. Rows of faces turn toward me, the hum of conversation fading into quiet. I tell them about the long nights, the debt, the couch I used as a bed. I tell them about the ambush at Thanksgiving, the contracts pushed across the table, the words that cut deeper than any cross-examination. "We never thought you'd succeed on your own." My throat tightens, but I keep going. And then I tell them what I learned. The most important thing, I say, letting the silence stretch so the words land, is knowing your value. No one can give it to you, and no one can take it away once you claim it. For a breath, the room is still. Then applause crashes like a wave, rolling over me, filling every corner. Strangers stand to their feet. It is the recognition I once begged from my own family, delivered instead by a room of peers who see me clearly. I step back from the podium, heart pounding, but lighter than I've ever felt. For the first time, the echo isn't loneliness, it's affirmation, and it's mine. The conference table is cluttered with takeout containers and half-empty bottles of cheap red wine, laughter spilling louder than the hum of the old air conditioner. It's a warm summer night, and the 12 of us, lawyers, paralegals, clerks, crowd shoulder to shoulder, passing dishes, family style like we've done this for years. Someone slides me the last piece of garlic bread. Another fills my glass without asking. The food isn't fancy. The wine tastes faintly metallic, but the joy in the room makes it a feast. Ellie, my senior associate, raises her glass, eyes sparkling. "To Eliza," she says, her voice carrying over the clatter. "To the woman who showed us all that standing your ground isn't selfish. It's survival." A chorus of voices echoes back. "To Eliza!" And the room erupts in cheers. My cheeks flush, not with embarrassment, but with something I've never felt in this measure before. Belonging. For years, I searched for family around a table where I was invisible. Tonight, I realize I've already built one, right here, in the laughter, the loyalty, the quiet respect of people who see me as I am. Later, when the food is boxed up and the wine bottles stand empty, I linger alone in the office. I cross to the tall window, press a palm to the glass, and let the view wash over me. Manhattan glitters, every skyscraper a torch burning against the dark. A year ago, that skyline felt distant, like something that belonged to everyone else. Now it feels like a mirror of what I've carved out of the shadows, bright, unshakable, my own. The night breeze slips through the cracked window, carrying the city's pulse. I whisper into it, steady and certain. I am Eliza Monroe, and I fight for people who value justice, not entitlement. The words don't need witnesses. The light outside is witness enough. The skyline stretches endless, a constellation of victories earned, boundaries held, and peace finally found. And with that, the story closes. Not in silence, not in longing, but in the radiant calm of freedom fully claimed.